Good evening, everyone. We're going to start this meeting at 5:30 p.m. on October 21st. Mr. Domer, roll call, please.
Thank you. And because we have one member on remote location, which has been posted 72 hours in advance at his location,
Let's go.
And is on the agenda, we will be doing roll call votes all night. When we get to that, I'll announce that again also at the start of the regular session. So, Councilmember Crosby.
Here.
Councilmember Kashavagita.
Here, sir.
Councilmember Lau.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Present.
Mayor Hepburn.
Here.
All present, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have a City Council meeting study session for the following. Tonight we're going to have a discussion in provide direction regarding the potential reorganizations of city public advisory committees, commissions, and boards. City manager has asked for public review and City Council direction for proposed reorganization of city advisory committees to better align subject matters and provide wider opportunities for residents to become involved in local government issues. Mr. Domer, please begin the presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council, and members of the public. Tonight is the discussion and direction regarding reorganization of city public advisory commissions, committees, and boards, otherwise known as committees, just to keep it simple. Pause for a little bit. Yes, I'll vamp for a little. So, in summary, back in the beginning of 2023, I was asked to review all the formation of committees, commissions, and boards, herein referred to as committees. Those current committees that we have are the Planning Commission, Active Transportation Committee, Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, Youth and Family Action Committee, Measure LV Oversight Committee, Youth Sports Committee, Old Town Laverne Business Improvement District Advisory Board, and the Public Financing Authority Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District Board. Also on the website, there will be also the Development Review Committee. That is a staff level committee. So it's just not as part of this, but that is organized through the municipal code. So the item came up on questions over whether the Committee on Cultural Awareness and Social Inclusion, or CASI, was a city-established and supported committee based upon a review of resolutions and approved council actions back in 2020 and 21. That evidence shows that while the city supported the group, it was not established as a city committee, and support only consisted of the city council approving 2 liaisons to CASI. There was no further action for staff support or anything else. And that review brought to light what, over the years, there has been kind of a very informal or a mixed way of bringing committees to the city council for review and changing those committees. So in trying to go with the thought of, being modern and updating what we're doing, looking at our code, with that, the council said, let's review this a little bit more. Let's work with the city attorney and bring back something. So tonight's action really is to discuss, what we currently have, what are some of the proposals, but to not take any action, but to hear both from the public and the city council. This is not something that I will bring back based on your direction in November or December. I see this being sometime in, the first 3 or 4 months of 2025 based on the direction. Currently, a lot of the committees, the committee members, the appointees are on a month-to-month. They're continuing. Very much appreciate that. But we also want to talk about how those committee members are appointed, because now that the city is fully in districts, the concept that a lot of other cities have gone to is a direct appointment. That's something we did with the Sewer and Water Rate Ad Hoc Committee versus the traditional, which we looked at how many applicants, and then based on that, we either did a informal review and then brought remnants to the city council, or we brought everybody to the city council, and then there was a majority action based on the review. So that's open for discussion towards the end. But again, over the years, different methods have been used to form committees and commissions. In the municipal code, really, when you come to the Planning Commission is the only one in state law that is kind of solid. Pretty much every city has a Planning Commission, though some cities, the city councils act as the Planning Commission. So that's the standard. pretty much everywhere I've been. My first city, the city council, was the planning commission. So there just wasn't enough activity to generate a whole different commission on that. So, and basically, again, going back to the thought, it's better to align committees for functional subject areas. So public works, community services, finance. When you look at our committees right now, there are some specialized issues, some across the board. So wanted just to bring that up to the city council. So again, the current committees are the Planning Commission, and you see up there on the screen, it's basically, the Planning Commission is the only committee that we have that has discretionary ability. All other are advisory to the city council. So the discretionary ability that the Planning Commission has is they can approve conditional use permits, they can approve variances and some other things. Sometimes something from the Planning Commission will come up either on a normal action or on appeal to the city council. So the city council has the final determination authority. But that's the one that's kind of, I won't say a premier commission, but it's a higher level commission committee. So we also have an active transportation committee. ATCs, or active transportation committees, are more of a rather new type of committee. Some places have a traffic and circulation commission. Active transportation looks more at the attractive, safe, pedestrian, vehicle, bicycle type approach. There was some laws in the 2010s. There was some funding. The city had a active transportation. They're going for a grant. There was a work group that was then made into an active transportation committee. Senior Citizens Advisory Committee, I think very important here in Laverne. We have a higher amount of senior citizens in the committee. And again, advisory capacities to the city council, looking at senior programs, activities at the community center, and the way to meet those needs. City also has the Youth and Family Action Committee. I'll be talking about this one a little bit more towards the end. Encouraging, coordinating, facilitating the involvement of citizens and community organizations in combating the problems of substance abuse, gang activity, and community service. This one started out as the Red Ribbon Committee way back when, and then its overview mission kind of went beyond that. So they came to the city council and they said, well, we're not just doing red ribbon activities, we're doing this. And so the name was changed, been like that ever since. Measure LV Oversight Committee, we know that that was put in place with the passage of Measure LV, and talk a little bit more about that in the concept of a finance committee. We can, as long as we keep what everything Measure LV was supposed to do, the oversight of Measure LV and all the requirements that are in that ordinance, it can be part of a larger finance committee. And then the Youth Sports Committee. This is, again, I'll talk about this later, about bringing it down to a working group. This one is a bit different because it's made up of the groups we work with on a regular basis to allocate field use, talk about some of the scheduling issues, facility improvements and all that stuff, and the school district. So there's not really appointees except for one person to the Youth Sports Committee, and there are 2 members of the City Council on it. But it's based on who is in that president role of individual youth sports groups that are outside and working with us on youth activities. Then we have the Old Town Laverne Business Improvement District Advisory Board that came along with the creation of the Business Improvement District. Again, most cities, when they have a business improvement district, there's typically a nonprofit association that goes along with that, and the council would just appoint that nonprofit association as the advisory board. Here we kind of do an extra step. I think when it was formed, we were looking at the law itself and said you needed to have an advisory. We didn't have any, form or fashion as to how to create committees, so we created it how we've been creating everything else. And then the Public Financing Authority Enhanced Infrastructure Financing District Board. This, of course, is under state law, so there's really no change to this one that I'll be recommending because it is under state law. And for those members of the public, it is, some people call it the son of redevelopment agencies, but it is dealing with tax increment financing. We were one of the first EIFDs here in the state of California. And so there are 2 members of the council, there are public member, and then 2 members from the county of Los Angeles, because they are an integral part, because we do receive some of their tax financing. So talked a little bit about the Development Review Committee. That's a staff level committee. It is set up underneath the Laverne Municipal Code, so it is spelled out there. And as everybody knows, we did recently form the Ad Hoc Water and Sewer Rate Committee, and that was to enhance public involvement in the rate setting review process that we are looking at right now. Do you know that a member here, 2 members here, we had on Friday a great tour of some of our water facilities that I think people were maybe surprised about. And we'll have pictures and all that other stuff at a later date. So, roles of committees in city government. They're advisory bodies, and unless they're given that discretionary decision ability, they are advisory to the city council. So, it should be where you want functional committees with good people on it, getting the community involved and the residents involved, look at issues. The city council can send back to a committee something to study, to review, and provide input back to the city council. They're all required to be operated under the Ralph M. Brown Act, so open meetings, posted agendas, everything like that. They should be structured best to serve the city council in that soliciting of community input in long-standing service issues versus the short-term management or other specific issues, which could be an ad hoc or could be some other type of issue to look at if there's a specific item. City council liaisons. So right now there are a couple committees that have city council liaisons on advisory committees back to the city council. So it's kind of an issue where it would be recommended that the city council not have city council members on those advisory committees back to the city council. A liaison, in other words, then is that spokesperson on behalf of the council. So at the dais, whoever is that liaison to one of the committees could be directed to, hey, could you let this committee? They monitor the committee. They act on behalf of the council to see if there's anything that the needs. They report back to the city council, much like you report back when you're on an external county agency or some other type of thing, Gabriel Valley government. So that's kind of where city council liaisons should be versus having an active role, because most of the committees are advisory to the city council. So coming to the main part, which is the ideas for restructuring. So currently we do not have a general ordinance that sets forth a lot of the details for how committees are handled, run, or anything like that. So a lot of cities in my review have a general ordinance that talks about general regulations for committees. So set issues such as meeting times, places. Meeting times and such could be set by resolution to be a little bit more flexible, but doesn't mean you can't set it by ordinance, and it goes both ways. But so, how commissions, committees, boards are established, again, there is nothing here, so it's been kind of haphazard is how we've done it in the past by review of our past resolutions. Some have been by ordinance, some have been by resolution, some have contained that key term established. Others have not had that key established. So bringing back to the city council ordinance that would address some of these things, number of members, qualifications, appointment and removal process, what happens if somebody misses 3 meetings, what happens and somebody is acting in a way and maybe the council believes they should be removed. That needs to be defined and put into ordinance. Basic decorum and other items. So that would be part of the overall bringing back and bringing draft ordinance to the city council review. And again, it's the foundation of how committee boards would go forward. So meat and potato, really retain the Planning Commission in its current form because the Planning Commission is as a Planning Commission. I left off. Essentially adding items involving open discussion on that. Some planning commissions also have, so for example, I was on the Planning Commission in the city of Orange 20-something years ago. Orange has one of the largest historic districts in the nation and a great historic downtown, pretty big. The Planning Commission would look at a lot of historic issues, so Mills Act, other things like that, preservation, pieces, putting houses on it, all that stuff. Same thing in the city of Fullerton, where they have actually a separate code section designating the Planning Commission for landmarks. But it's all about historic preservation, heritage, items like that. So that's one thought about looking at the historical side, because I know that does come up every while. Public financing, EIFD, no changes. Again, state law, it is what it is. I would like to recommend some changes eventually to the state, but we can't do anything on that right now. Yeah. Senior Citizen Advisory Committee, proposed to remain the same, but that it has a liaison to what hopefully could be a community services or park and recreation commission to be part of that larger conversation about community parks, recreation. So the seniors are a large group, a lot of needs here, separate from a lot of different things. They should be a standalone committee, but they should also be having a liaison and interacting with, if there's a community services, kind of bring it all in and have that discussion larger. So the Old Town Laverne Business Improvement District Advisory Board, again, on this would be recommended. Right now we're doing a consultant review that sometime next 3, 4, 5 months, we'll get the consultant report back. It'll have some strategic enhancements, some other improvements, but also we're going to ask them about, there's an association, and again, as I mentioned earlier, most other bids, the association, that is the businesses, is the advisory board. And state law, under the Streets and Highway Code, does allow the city council to just say the advisory board is, or the association or nonprofit board is the advisory board. And that would be the recommendation. Makes it easier. So it's cleaner. And then there's also some stuff in the bylaws that would probably work with the consultant to clean up about some of the money. So here's where we get into some new, merged, and other committees. So as I said, we currently have the Active Transportation Committee, but we don't have anything that looks at infrastructure, sustainability issues as far as energy and all that stuff, and the capital improvement program. So Public Works, as we're going through our budgeting process, doesn't have a resident advisory committee to provide input into the CIP. A lot of cities have that, and it's a good mechanism to learn more about an issue or learn more about some issues out there. So one of the proposals is to have a Public Works, I don't know what to call it, be it active transportation or Public Works, many names out there, but some type of committee that combines active transportation, still looking at the vehicle, pedestrian, bicycle, safety, grants, getting safe travels, but with larger infrastructure, sustainability, and being an advisory capacity city council. So the city used to have both a Parks and Recreational Commission and a Community Services Commission, and they changed the name from one to the other. In the staff report, it gives the dates. Name change seem to have gone back, and so a lot of times you see Parks and Rec departments go from Parks and Rec to Community Services. I've talked to Yvonne Duran about, it seems the issue is back to Parks and Rec, what is services altogether, but in general, it'd be great to have a commission or committee that oversees that. So it would be looking at and working with Public Works for park maintenance, improvement, development issues, provide advisory capacities to the council on facilities and programs, getting input from the youth sports working group, which I'll talk about shortly, talking about community events, community center usage, cultural. So, yeah, it would be primarily staffed by the Community Services Department and assisted by Public Works, because right now, Public Works staff are doing the maintenance at facilities. The services staff are doing the activities, the scheduling, bathrooms, itself. So it would be that joint, but primarily serviced and led by the community, or whatever name. And then finally, lack of better names, the Finance Commission. So this would be the Measure LV oversight, but it would combine it with an audit oversight, which we currently do not have, and a fiscal sustainability, which we also do not have. I've been in cities that have been really challenged. You know, this city back in 2016 looked at sustainability and had a consultant come in. You know, it should not be a, you know, when you need it because we have to have it. Should be looking at it all the time, especially in today's world of being a city in the state of California. More mandates, more issues going on, pension increases, unfunded actuarial liabilities, and all that stuff. So it would be great to have a finance commission that continued the requirements of Measure LV, but also added to it that, for example, before we provide the annual comprehensive financial report, the ACFR, to the city council, they've reviewed it, they've looked at it, they're providing some recommendations. If, when we go back out for an external audit, they're part of the process to review different external auditors. And so the city council has a resident, a little bit more input about who we would be selecting for the next 3 to 5 years. So, and then fiscal sustainability initiative. If there's something we want to look at, you know, bring it to them, talk to that group, flesh it out a little bit more, get some of their ideas, and eventually try to get a recommendation for something to bring it back to. So that's the Finance Commission. And so a couple others, but just little tweaks. The Youth Sports Committee right now would be converted into a Youth Sports Working Group. And the reason for that is it truly is what we're trying to do in all of our interactions with our youth sports group. Softball, Little League, soccer, top is get into annual and a little bit more stuff. Also make sure that every organization is following a lot of state standards. AB 506 or 508, 506, which talks about making sure everybody has a background check if they're on the field and all that stuff. So in those agreements, then just designating who from that organization is part of the working group. Because all the working group does, and I don't want to minimize it, but is we meet to review field usage. We meet to review, you know, amenity improvements, facility field usage improvements. We are currently going to be bringing to the city council, we did an RFP for a parks master plan, and that's a pretty large process through a consultant. It's going to be funded by Measure A? Yes, Measure A. So many measures, but through their part of the process. So it allows for these grants because a lot of cities do park master. Our last park master plan, I believe, was in 2006. One of those 6 years. But it's been a long time. And Yeah. And what a parks master plan does is it looks at all your facilities, looks what amenities you have. It, through public engagement, talks to the youth organizations, talks to the people. What are the needs out there? You know, we've seen a change where, you know, soccer's prominent. Rugby is there. I don't know if we have any rugby-sized fields, but pickleball. You know? So yes, cookies. Yeah. What are the needs out there? So it gets all that community input. It puts it into a plan. It has interactive engagement, and it brings it back. And then it also talks about the improvements. You know, baseball, netting, grass, different types of grass. You know, whether it's artificial or natural lawn and all that stuff. So it's a great document to have. And so that's going to guide a lot of us. But the sports working, which doesn't need to be a formal committee, is a get-together of the Oneida Unified School District and the youth organizations that we're in agreement with, and we just talk about field usage, scheduling, all that stuff, so that we could, on the limited facilities that we have, make sure that we're always scheduling people. So that's kind of a key issue there. YFAC is proposed to have most of its objectives put into the Community Services Commission. But I understand it is a long-standing committee. It has very good objectives, and you know, want to make sure that it is a subcommittee of the community, that it's still forward and working. I've been working with some folks about the overall concept of a community foundation. A lot of concern about nonprofit status and how to use donations. So we'd want to make sure that YFAC stays in its shape, but works more so with the Community Services Commission going forward. I think that would also help get more people involved. And it currently does have 2 council members, and since it would be a subcommittee, it would be fine to still have city council involvement to the Community Services, and then that would be brought up advisory there. And again, just an idea. So then potential future committees. Again, you know, once we have in place a understood ordinance on how to, you know, start committees and all that stuff, we can add if needed. But we are going through the general plan update. City Council should have that. PIR is done. I'm in first. One of the elements is an economic development element, and do know that an economic development advisory committee to advise the council potential things, land use, other items. A great tool. So look at that as and then again, any other committee would be reviewed for, you know, citywide applicability. What function serving, helping, one off, does it be an ad hoc, or does it be full-fledged? But in looking at the size of our city, looking at, you know, what we currently have, those major committees of planning, public works, finance, community services, I think kind of get 80, 85% of everything at senior advisory committee will still be there. And then, of course, bid, the IFD, the others still there. So those are, so that's my conclusion. You know, committees are generally to receive input from the community. It increases participation in what goes on in the city. I remember a long time ago having a lunch meeting with one of the city managers that initially went into Bell after the whole Bell scandal. And one of the issues there was they had absolutely no committees at all. The city council, you know, wore multiple hats, but had no committees, so there was no committee input. Yeah, no oversight, no committee input, no one, looking at what was going on or providing the critical input. So committees are very important for that resident input and broadening the people who are involved. So that's very important. So, and it looks into major departmental subjects, again, public works, community services, finance, community development, planning commission, broadens some of the scopes of the committee. But the recommended action today is not for anything exclusive. It's to hear from the public and hear from city council, get some direction, and then probably bring this back sometime in February and time later after that, and hopefully at some point have a ordinance draft and a little bit more meat for these committees. So with that, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Dilmer. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, you got a couple questions before we go to public comment.
A couple of questions. I didn't hear anything mentioned about the Christmas Day or Christmas morning or 4th of July group. And then, of course, we've got a big day with the Halloween coming up and all the traffic, trick-or-treaters. Some thoughts to throw out there.
So both of those are not city committees. There's been no establishment. 4th of July is a citizens committee, and we work with them. We have an agreement with them to, help put on the 4th of July activities, working with the organizers, Robin and Don, on increasing the size. They've added some folks last year, but they do need to increase the amount of community input into that committee. So we're trying to put together a kind of an information, because you say 4th of July is in July of 2025, comes around pretty soon. And it would be great to get some folks who don't necessarily have to give up their 4th of July, but could be involved in a lot of the planning and putting together and soliciting donations, sponsorships, all that stuff. So those are two critical events. The other one, Christmas morning, we just met again last week, and I'll be bringing something forth to the city council. That's a very difficult one, as we mentioned last year. It was a truly non-city event because it was put on by the volunteer fire department and the firefighters and the association. And it kind of came over to the city, so we've struggled with it, and we're still struggling with staffing it accordingly. We are still proposing to go forward with how we did it last year, but make some improvements, specifically so people know when we're going to be in front of them or Santa's going to be, driving down the street. Santa Tracker doesn't work. I'm still working. In fact, at the conference, I talked to two wireless people. The wireless industry right now is a little messed up. We need
check
better.
out North Laverne.
Well, that's the problem, is there's no connectivity up there. So, but we're looking
Zero.
at ways that we can provide better understanding of where and when and some windows of opportunity. So not the 4 hours that your Frontier or Spectrum person would give you, but we're hoping, a little bit shorter of time based on the routes being followed, and we know the mile per hour that they can go, and being cautious and all that stuff. So. Also, one I kind of forgot was, we are doing a great job on inclusion and making sure that, our playgrounds and our programs are open to inclusion. And so we would look to see that as one of the subject areas of, the community services or Parks and Rec. That's the majority of the area there. But again, on those issues that come up through the services department, they would go wherever they need to go, but that would probably be the primary one there. And Halloween, I'm not going to form another committee for that, but so I think Community Services does a great job. So
They do a fantastic job.
appreciate what they do.
I think that carries on. We need to go to public comment, but I think our concern, too, on the committees is what involvement the city staff has. And I know that the 4th of July is a very tremendous focus on resources in our city, and especially our police, public works, community services, but those two tremendous resources, and we need to think about that. the same as all the other, with our Halloween and things like that. It requires a tremendous amount of effort from all of our resources in the city. So it has to be something that we need to really seriously look at. And I know for a fact that 4th of July is just incredible amount of safety, amount of public works, amount of community services and people and staff that are routing people for the parade route and things like that. So with that, though, I think we should open up public comment. We do have one card from Ms. Klusik. Kathy? Anybody else wishes to, please, public comment is open.
All right. Good evening, everybody. This is, Sherry Best wasn't able to be here, so I'm actually reading the statement for Sherry. And actually, I want to start off with saying I appreciate, Ken, that you mentioned about possibly adding, historical preservation to, maybe even the planning commission. So that is going to kind of go with this. But so this is from Sherry. Thank you for this opportunity to provide feedback to Mayor Tim Hepburn, City Manager Ken Domer, and the members of the City Council. Laverne's Planning Commission has recently approved the draft EIR for final approval by members of the City Council. Members of the Laverne Historical Society were present for that discussion and contributed input in the form of oral and written testimony at various meetings throughout the process. We appreciate the value of the general plan for guiding city policy and practice for years to come. Today's discussion and direction related to reorganization of Laverne's advisory committees, commissions, and boards seems an especially appropriate adjunct to the updated general plan. The Laverne Historical Society recommends that Laverne's City Council add an Architectural and Scenic Preservation Commission to strengthen our cultural heritage. The Architectural and Scenic Preservation Commission would work in collaboration with the Laverne Historical Society, Laverne's Planning Commission, Laverne Heritage Foundation, the University of Laverne, and other stakeholder groups to meet the goals of designation, preservation, protection, enhancement, and perpetuation of historical, scenic, and cultural resources that contribute to Laverne's value and unique culture. Representative policy changes and action items of the Commission would include the following: strengthen and expand the state-level Mills Act and city-level bronze marker programs that encourage owners of historic homes to improve their property's appearance and add value to our community. Make recommendations to the Planning Commission and City Council on the formation of historic districts or scenic districts. Create more transparent citizen involvement in nomination and selection of the Laverne Community Design Awards recipients. Strengthen resident knowledge regarding historic, scenic, and cultural resources in Laverne. Develop an active system of outreach to local realtors to assist buyers of historic homes in Laverne. Engage in local ordinances review as appropriate, maintain active involvement in historic tree and grove protection, explore and engage in grant writing to capitalize on state and federal historic preservation tax incentive programs. These suggestions do not represent an exhaustive list, but reflect some possibilities for the proposed commission. Convening an interest group comprised of citizens, city staff, and stakeholder representatives would be a start. Please consider this request. Thank you.
Thanks, Kathy. Anyone else who wants to speak on this item? Miss? I just call her easier, shorter.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and Council. I would like to thank the City Manager for going in depth into the different committees that are already in existence, but also about the potential for future committees, because I think that speaks volumes as to how involved the residents are and want to be involved in the city and continue to see it grow in the right direction and make it so that all people feel that their voice is being heard and considered when decisions are being made by either Planning Commission or the City Council. So I think it's nice that we're considering expanding the 4th of July and bringing it on as an official city one. And I think you would have more participation that way, because being a citizens group, it starts out with, just their friends and people who are kind of directly involved. But when you bring it to a city level, then more people get excited about it. And 4th of July is, one of the biggest things that takes place in our city. And, it's just the parade and everything. It's just so wonderful. The decoration contest that you guys have encouraged, and it helps our community feel as one. If you've ever been down Amherst and you see, and Denise Fisher, who's part of the K-9 Foundation, she's our neighborhood watch committee person who coordinates everything, and we have flags that run on the holidays. So every holiday, Veterans Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, we have flags almost on every house in their front yard, and it's awesome to see in the afternoon when the breeze is blowing and all these flags are flying. You can't help but feel patriotic. So things like that, I think, really bring the community together and make everything a happy place, and we need that. We need to keep that in our city. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Beauchamp. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Please come on out.
All right. Hello. Oops. Sorry.
Well,
I just tripped over the rug. It's graceful. I will say that I would like to see additional information on the different committees. Curious as if the slide deck is available for download. I didn't see it in the packet, so I'd like to review it again through speaking with it. Obviously missing from any type of commission or committee is the lack of diversity and that celebration. I'm disappointed to see this again, as I've been here 4 years now, lived here 4 years, but again, I've owned my house for 11 years. But as far as Cassie goes, one of the things that I would like to see is Cassie be an advisory, right? And that advisory arm to the city regarding the diversity of the city, regarding these cultural events. In the 4 years that I've lived here, I don't recall any type of celebration or event that celebrates that diversity that we have here. For that, as Danita just mentioned, right, having people involved in expanding our committees, I think that's fantastic. But we want to be able to get more people involved that aren't currently involved. I think it's very important to have that recognition of the diversity within our city, right? So that we do have more people involved, more people that want to be a part of the community. I don't know what our survey results are at right now, but I know that you mentioned, Mr. Hepburn, that they were low. And we want to be able to engage all citizens of this city. And I think it's important that we do that by reaching out to all of the residents in the community, but also to celebrate again. And I've said this 100 times here, that in the city of Laverne, right, from the last census, something like around 35% of the people identify with being Hispanic. Right? Those numbers aren't as large for other people of color or other ethnic or racial backgrounds. But I just want to make it to where I have a voice here and express my concern of not having some sort of celebrations for the different cultures that we have in this city. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? Mr. Bowen.
Good evening, Council. Mr. Domer. I think we're talking about future. LVC was put together 6 years ago, and it was regarding the concerns of the citizens. A lot of things that were going on at the time. We currently have 1,700 members. So if you want an advisory committee, perhaps that might be one you look at. Most importantly, as far as I'm concerned, here is it seems in the background there's not an attempt, but a suggestion to move to appointments versus district appointments. And in the agenda, I believe it said to bring in more adverse or more community involvement. I don't think having each district appoint somebody instead of having people that are interested, it becomes, to me, it becomes much more, who's your buddy? Where do you live? How can I help you? What can you do? It just starts to go in that direction, in my opinion. So I hope, as one of your considerations, that you guys really do not move in that direction. Even though we have district voting, we've lost our right in many cases to vote. As we know, we had nobody running this next time. So we have 2 council people that are appointed versus elected. So I just think we're starting to run in a direction that just doesn't seem like it's in the best interest in all the citizens of Laverne, 32,000 people. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Anyone else wish to speak on this item? We'll go ahead and close public comment, and we'll bring it back up to the dais. Really, we're just looking for direction. I will say that Mr. Bowen's comment, I was been thinking about that a lot. I do like the fact that people have the opportunity to sign up for a committee and not be appointed. There are certain things that we will need to appoint. I know the Planning Commission is one of them. But I think, myself personally, I think that if people are interested in any of these committees, no matter in your district, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, I think it's important. Although we have found in the past that it doesn't work so well, but I think we just need to advertise that. But I do like the fact that people can sign themselves up for a committee, not necessarily out of a district, and gives that freedom of people to be able to choose whatever committee they want to be on, and it keeps it above board. We have a selection process. If we have a number of people that want to be on the committee, then we make the selection then. So, and they have a time to speak in front of us. So I think that's a great idea. But council.
So a couple things. I think we saw with that ad hoc water and sewer rate committee, I think the intention when we talk about searching for different voices and different people from different areas is that I think we were a lot more intentional about seeking folks from each of our districts. It didn't pan out that there was one from every district, but I think that is important because I think in years past you may have seen folks from a certain neighborhood. So I think it speaks to, trying to be intentional about widening that net and making sure that more people who may not, I think to your point about, friends appointing friends or whatever, I mean, you have to search to say who lives around me that may be a good candidate. And I think that we are a great city with a lot of good people, but they don't always know how to get involved. So I think that's part of the intention that I think we need to keep in mind is that it is incumbent upon whoever sits on this dais to be reaching out to their respective residents to say, come join us, come be a part of this journey to making this city amazing and continuing to make it a great place to live. So that with that being said, Mr. Domer, I am really appreciative of the work that went into giving us the history, the context. I think what's important, I think from our point of view would be a uniformity, right? So that any new committees that may want to be established have an understanding of what are the requirements, what do we look at, how can that happen, and what can they advise upon. I think the point raised by Ms. Gallegos about diversity and everything else, I think we also have to be intentional about that too. I think about the work we do on active transportation. I think we've got a good representation of people who say, hey, I'm a woman who wants to cycle, but this street is not well lit, so I'm concerned about my safety. That's inclusiveness, that's diversity, that's understanding where people are coming from. We have people who are disabled, and so it's important to take into account what are their needs and what are their viewpoints. We're not all able-bodied. Not everybody can see. Not everybody can hear. There's a lot of things that we need to be thinking about. So I think as we come forward with a methodology and a structure and a governance for all of these committees and commissions, that is part of the intentionality that should be part of the process. I like the idea of grouping our committees into the respective work departments, right? So if it relates to public works, that should be the group it goes under. If it relates to community services, whether it's a cultural event or an event like 4th of July, which is, I would argue, is a cultural event. I mean, those are things that I think should fall within those purviews so that we're talking to the right people and making sure that our resources are appropriately allocated. I think that's, one of the things that got raised too. Staff time, staff resources. How are we being smart about what we have available to us so that we're being efficient, but that we're delivering on the services that we want to see in our community? So my direction, or, my hope would be that come back to us in February with a process for how this looks. We now understand how some of these may have come to light in the past, but what would the groupings look like? And what would the process be for any new committees that want to be erected? I think the other thing I would like to see, because I'm a visual person, an org chart. Like, what does that look like? So, if, say, Meg is in charge of the public works purview, so then what falls under her, under those committees? How do they interrelate possibly with, like you said, public works and community services? What's the interplay between that, and understanding what that might look like? So I think those are all things that I would task staff with coming back to us with.
Thank you, Councilmember Dow. Councilmember Cash.
Thank you. I think you both said it perfectly. Just having an understanding exactly what the committees all look like moving forward in the future, and really how do the committees want to come about. People say we would like to start this committee. How do we get this started, right? And moving forward with that. But on that, well said. I agree.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
I think a lot of people get a lot out of being on these committees. I think it's a step to figure out how the system works, how the city works, what potential there is for individuals that want to sit in this chair. That would be great. The other comment, Rick, you wanted more involvement throughout the city of people in committees, and I was disappointed this last time that we had active transportation committees only in District 1, maybe because it's a flatter area and it's more inclined for easier to bike ride than the rest of the city. But kind of hard to get everybody to be interested in these committees as well. But I think active transportation one is top heavy in District 1.
I appreciate all the comments. I think Councilmember Lau stated it the best. I think we need a blending. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Crosby, our Hawaii guy. Sorry.
You're doing a good job. No, you're doing a good job.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that guy.
That guy. Please, sorry about
First of all,
that.
thank you allowing me to be part of this meeting as well. I do like the idea of getting more residents involved on committees. It's a great, like you said, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, it's a great start looking into the city and getting more people involved. I do like the idea of trying to get more people throughout the city involved, but I do understand Mr. Bowen's concerns. But I appreciate City Manager Domer for bringing this up to us and really looking at the entire model and really making it cohesive. So really appreciate that as well.
Thank you, Mr. Crosby. I do want to thank Ken. This was something we discussed a long time ago, that we have a lot of committees, but we need to focus on these committees to make sure that they cover what we need in the community. And the more people that are on these committees, it's very important. But as the testament Mr. Bowen said, we need to advertise it, and we did, but sometimes we need to push it really hard out there to make sure these committees are very important for the functioning of our community, especially the LV and the blending of the LV and maybe a financial commission to put that together, and the Parks Commission, which we used to have many years ago. And I know that I was one of the pushers of the Measure LV because of the fact we have this money coming in. We need to make sure that people know what it's going for. And the same thing as the Active Transportation Committee. So I think really just come back with, and make sure we have all-inclusive, make sure that we have that blending. But I think come back with something with meat and potatoes, and like you say, on an org chart to say how it does, and also within how it affects our employees in these special times when they want to be with their families too, that we need to kind of figure out how we're going to work that out and make it work that not anyone is just being one task for them. And to be with their families too. But I appreciate this. Is a lot of information. I think we're in the right direction. I think I appreciate your vast knowledge of the other cities, which is extremely important on how they function, and to bring it forward to us at a later date to kind of hone this down and see how we can blend these committees together and start more.
Perfect. Appreciate the information, direction, and the comments. There's still a couple of the PowerPoint presentations in paper form over here. We'll have it on the website, and then there's a lot more information. I don't like doing presentations with too much text. There was too much text for me, but it was a summary of what is a 9-page staff report. So there's a lot more information in the staff report that is online right now. So, but we'll be back in February.
We're moving in the right direction. Thank you. With that, we're going to recess at 6:25 p.m. Our regular meeting will start at 6:30 p.m. Thank you all. Good evening, everybody. How are you tonight? Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing tonight? That's better. Thank you very much. We're going to start this meeting tonight at 6:37 p.m., October 21st. I want to remind everyone that the city's rules of decorum are on speakers and members of the audience, and council members are to conduct themselves with decorum and not to engage in conduct and that interrupts the orderly conduct of the city council meeting. Also, public comment through Zoom will only be accepted for the agenda items listed within the consent calendar, public hearing, and other matters section of the agenda. General public comments will be accepted at the meeting by those physically in attendance at the appropriate time. With this tonight, we're very pleased to have once again one of our proud veterans to conduct the Pledge of Allegiance for us tonight, Army Veteran E4, Pete Serrano. Mr. Serrano, if you please. Oh, we got a mic for you.
Thank you. All active military, law enforcement, first responders, veterans, and render a hand salute. All others, please, your right hand over your heart. Follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Oh.
What are you trying to take? Always trying to take the mic from me. I always got a couple words I got to say. Well, brother, I'm honored as always of being here, represented by my brothers and sisters that are veterans that can start our amazing city council Pledge of Allegiance. So, I'd like to present this to you, certificate. But before I do that, I want everybody to know about Army Specialist Serrano. So I want to take this moment for you. Please share your story.
I served in the military from 1969 to 1970. I was deployed to Vietnam. I was a combat veteran, wounded in action, Purple Heart recipient, Bronze Star with V device for valor in Vietnam. That is my story.
God bless you, brother. God bless you. Well, the City of Laverne certificate of recognition presented to Pete Serrano. This certificate is presented on behalf of the Laverne City Council to U.S. Army E4 veteran Pete Serrano with sincere gratitude and appreciation for your dedicated service to our country. God bless you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And just to remind everybody that all votes tonight will be conducted by roll call due to Mr. Crosby's being in Hawaii. So aloha. And Mr. Crosby, Councilmember Crosby.
Here.
Councilmember Kashvagita.
Here, sir.
Councilmember Lau.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Present.
Mayor Hepburn.
Present.
All present.
Thank you. Tonight we have several presentations. The first is a legislative update from Assemblymember Chris Holden. I'm going to hold that. You're not going to go anywhere yet. First of all, Mr. Holden, you've been an amazing impact for our community and our local communities. You've always been there for us, along with Matt Lyons, who is a resident of Laverne. And just a few things I want to just do over here, and then we're going to do a proclamation after you're done with your presentation. Advocated for the Golden Light extension. The role he played in the State Assembly Select Committee on Regional Transportation Solutions ensured we secured necessary funding, which is going before the board next week, and it's almost $800 million. And because of his fighting, we're going to have the extension go from Pomona to Montclair. So that's just one huge, huge accomplishment. Attended city council meetings informing the community on pertinent legislation that will impact the Laverne community, constantly always keeping us abreast of what's going on. $1.5 million appropriation for Los Flores Park improvements that are going on right now. Thank you so much. Highlighted small businesses in Laverne through the annual Small Business of the Year awards. Highlighted Laverne residents through the annual Woman of Distinction Award, and highlighted Veteran of the Year. Supported veterans in the community, providing funds for the Veterans Memorial. Attending Chamber of Commerce and ULV events. Partakes in the 4th of July parade, attending Laverne events like the Memorial Day ceremony. That's just a few. Without you here, and I know this is your last term, you have been such an advocate for our city, and I can't thank you enough. Now, I want to introduce Mr. Chris Holden, Assemblymember Chris Holden.
Well, I'm in Michigan. And first of all, I want to thank Mayor Hepburn and the rest of the City Council, Mayor Pro Tem. And, you know, this has been an amazing opportunity for me to be a part of a family of amazing cities that are linked together along the 210 freeway. So much in common, but so much that's separate and unique and distinct for every city that falls within the 41st district. And I've just enjoyed having an opportunity to build relationships. I know that your mayor was sort of giving me a lot of spotlight on the funding for the Gold Line. But Mayor Hepburn has been amazing, not just behind the scenes, but when he needed to be in front of the scenes and making sure that we had an episode where we had the money, then it was taken out of the budget. And that had us from a high of right there, we're going to get this done, to all of a sudden we're back on the ground again. And I remember calls that you made to me to encourage me, to keep me going. But as it relates to the Gold Line, this has been 30 plus years in the making. And I can tell you it's not just one person. It's a community of people through the San Gabriel Valley, and certainly Laverne is second to none. And had it not been for all of the community, all of the leaders participating along the way, advocating, fighting for other communities to make sure they got the resources, then this project probably would have only made it to maybe Glendora. So I'm just, I'm part of a team. You know, I played basketball. You didn't know that, did you? Yeah, you know. Go figure. And I use this analogy, but there's only one ball in the game, and it's got to touch every hand, you know, and you need to move it around so that everyone shares in being able to have a victory at the end. So this is a team sport. We all celebrate, and I thank you for your leadership and getting us to where we are on the Gold Line, which means I can probably skip that part of my presentation, but I do appreciate you. I just wanted to also thank you for inviting me and giving me the opportunity to be here this evening. This is, as you noted, my last meeting as an assembly member. My term expires on November 30th, and I can tell you from all of the different civic events that I've had an opportunity to participate in, to fighting hard with you to get funding for the park, whatever it might have been. It right now seems like a blur. 12 years goes by so fast. And so I just am happy that I've had the opportunity to represent this amazing community. And let me just say that when I started, my serving in the California Assembly has been one of the most exhilarating, impactful, and innovative endeavors I could have ever imagined. Authoring laws that protect the most vulnerable to disenfranchised communities has always been my North Star. When I entered the Assembly in 2012 as a member of the new legislative class with term limits of 12 years, I remember thinking that this was our opportunity to be good stewards and envision the best of California, because instilling hope and a promise for an inclusive society is why I serve. I had my sights set on protecting the natural environment and investing in deferred infrastructure improvements, roads, bridges, highways. I made the goal of creating policies that work to improve water delivery systems and modernizing the electric grid to meet the challenges of a changing climate reliably and efficiently. As you know, my colleagues and I have worked very hard together to make sure that we were addressing the important issues that affect all of California. And we began this year with an approximate $45 billion general fund shortfall. The legislature and the governor completed $17 billion in early actions, and the 24-25 state budget plan, reflecting negotiations between the governor and legislative leaders to close the remaining $28 billion projected budget shortfall. The plan balances the state budget for both the 24-25 and 25-26 fiscal years under the administration's current revenue and spending projections, and accomplishes this while using only about half of the rainy day fund, which leaves about $11 billion in the fund in case we need it to meet challenges of 25-26. Despite this year's budget deficits, my colleagues and I were successful in obtaining statewide funding priority prior to the pandemic during our state's surplus years. $400 million for developmental disability services and their providers, who help the nearly 330,000 Californians living with developmental disabilities, plus $200 million in new funds from the state budget, and also matched equally by federal funds of $200 million, so a total of $800 million for developmental disability community. $16.3 million to finish and maintain California early earthquake warning system, which will help reduce damage, costs, and casualties in the event of an earthquake. This includes a one-time $8.8 million appropriation and an ongoing $3.6 million for creating and maintaining the Shake Alert early earthquake warning system. $3 million to expand speech-language pathologists training in the California State University system. The funding will address the shortage of qualified teachers to help students with speech-related developmental and intellectual disabilities. In 2023, through the budget process, I was able to secure $1.5 million to repair and restore Las Flores Park in Laverne. The facility at this park provide many beneficial uses by the community, University of Laverne, and Bonita Unified School District. This was an ideal multi-benefit, multi-purpose funding opportunity where the state could provide funds to help repair the aquatic center, replace decking, upgrade picnic shelters, and make it an optimal space to hold public events. And I'd like to thank the mayor, the city council, for bringing that to me. We can work as a team to make sure that happens. Thank you. Mayor. I'm turning the page on the gold line, since we've already talked about that. But again, $500+ million, $800 million to get the project moving again, and so we're excited about what that's going to represent. And I would also say, too, that the Pomona station will be completed by the 2028 Olympics. So having visitors coming into the valley, the San Gabriel Valley and the San Bernardino portion of the valley, we'll have an opportunity for the communities to benefit, because that means tourism coming into the Ontario airport, making their way through the San Gabriel Valley and into Los Angeles proper. Since being elected to the Assembly in 2012, I've served under two administrations, Governor Jerry Brown and the current Governor Gavin Newsom. Both have signed more than 100 of my bills into law. Many of these legislative victories stem from conversations and collaboration from members of the community. Through community engagement, our office was able to take steps towards finding and delivering solutions that work. In the area of education, I've taken steps to remove some barriers to dual enrollment access by successfully enacting the College Career Pathways Act of 2016. The data remains undisputable. Dual enrollment increases the number of college graduates, reduces time and money spent for college, and helps close the achievement gap. This act created a paradigm shift where early college access and opportunities became more accessible to every student, not only the 5% of scholastically advanced students. Today, all 114 community colleges offer some form of dual enrollment, and we have many examples of graduating high school seniors who are finishing high school with their high school diploma and their AA degree. I authored legislation that dealt with lead testing to ensure our children have safe drinking water at school. I worked with LA County to improve water quality and reduce stormwater capture and urban runoff pollution. I collaborated with the governor and the Senate to enact the Wildfire Mitigation Fund that ensures fire victims and businesses do not incur certain costs and expenses arising out of catastrophic wildfires. And I want to take a moment to recognize and thank your fire chief, Chris Nigg. So I'm here a minute ago. Okay. Well, he didn't know I was going to do this, but that's okay. And I want to say that the fire chief, who, as you know, is a tireless advocate for public safety, he testified in support of my bill, AB 2330, which is a bill sponsored by the League of California Cities that I authored. It would have provided local agencies with streamlined mitigation process that prioritizes wildfire preparedness and public safety. Sometimes bills and our efforts go beyond a single legislative session. During our efforts this past year, this bill earned the designation as a priority bill for the San Gabriel Valley Legislative Caucus. So I'm confident that as the advocacy will continue to ensure that that legislation moves forward. Needless to say, we were disappointed that it was vetoed, because when we were dealing with wildfires in San Bernardino County at the time, it made all the sense in the world. But no wonder I didn't recognize you. Great to see you again. Thank you, Chief. In closing, serving as the assembly member for a district I grew up in and went to public school in, it has given me the opportunity to solve problems and deliver solutions for the communities in the 41st Assembly District in the state of California. I returned home from graduating from San Diego State University to serve and give back to the unique charm that this community instilled within me. From serving on the Pasadena City Council to representing in the State Assembly, I will leave this office with great satisfaction in knowing that I, along with this community, were instrumental in improving opportunities, outcomes, and the quality of life for all Californians. I'd like to again thank you for allowing me the opportunity to represent you, and I always will be your friend, and I probably will not be going too much further away, where we can continue to partner together on opportunities leading.
If you could stay there, sir, we've got something for you. Thank you very much. I'm probably going to repeat a few of these, but like you said, it takes a village. And I want to thank Meg McWade, our Public Works Director, and also Yvonne Duran, our Community Services Director, and also our City Manager, Ken Domer. But those two right there with Los Flores Park made it happen with you guys. And so it takes the collaboration of, and Cody Howling over there, and Cody, Yeah, we have an amazing staff, and without that, as you know, like you have Matt Lyons. Where is Matt? Where'd you go, Matt? He's over there. Matt, I want to thank you too, because you're the direct representative of Mr. Holden, and you've been there every time for everything we do, whether it be a ribbon cutting, whether it be anything to do with the community, any information that I couldn't get a hold of Mr. Holden, you're always there. So you will be missed. You're a Laverne resident, but I'm sure we'll find you on the other side. But thank you for what you've done for our community too. Thank you very much. With that, City of Laverne proclamation, whereas Assemblymember Chris Holden has made significant and lasting contribution to the City of Laverne and the broader San Gabriel Valley, demonstrating steadfast dedication to our community's progress and well-being. And whereas Assemblymember Holden has been tireless advocate for the extension of the Gold Line, playing a crucial role in the State Assembly's Select Committee on Regional Transportation Solutions and securing critical funding that has expanded transportation options for our region. And whereas Assemblymember Holden secured a $1.5 million appropriation for improvements at Los Flores Park, a major investment that enhances the quality of our public spaces for the enjoyment of all residents. Whereas he has consistently celebrated local achievements through awards such as Small Business of the Year Award, Women of Distinction, and Veteran of the Year, bringing well-deserved recognition to those who positively impact our city. And whereas through his presentations at City Council meetings, Assemblymember Holden has kept our community informed on important legislation affecting Laverne, providing timely updates and fostering transparency in matters of local concern. And whereas beyond his legislative work, Assemblymember Holden has actively participated in Laverne's civic life, attending Chamber of Commerce and University of Laverne events, joining the annual 4th of July parade, and taking part in the Memorial Day ceremony, reflecting his commitment to our community. Now be it resolved that the Laverne City Council formally honor and express gratitude to Assemblymember Chris Holden for his outstanding service, dedication, and support of our community initiatives. The City Council, on behalf of our residents, thanks Assemblymember Holden for his contributions that have enriched the lives of the Laverne residents, strengthened our city's future, and have improved the overall Laverne community for years to come, this 21st day of October 2024. I also want to thank Chief Nig, who's been working very hard on the with our fire situation with Assemblymember Chris Holden, as he stated. If it wasn't for Chris coming to the floor and discussing it, even though it got vetoed, it's still there, and it's going to come back around again because it's not going away. Those fires are not going away, and we need safety, and we need money to be able to have our communities be safe in these fire situations. So thank you, Chief Nig. You've done an outstanding job. Thank you.
I would just amen that. And I think that it's important to note that there's another avenue that we can pursue, and I'll be having a conversation with you all to let you know, along with the chief, that there's still a budget process. And I know that the governor, very short order, will be working on the budget for next year. And I'd like to make a strong push that we have him include that in the budget so that we can get that money flowing sooner than later, because the fires aren't going anywhere, and the threat anyway, and so we want to make sure we're on top of that. This is on behalf of myself representing the California State Assembly. This is, as I said before, a premier community with people who care and weigh in. And I'm just so happy to have been a part of the chorus, of being a part of a solution-driven community effort around so many things. We've highlighted some of them. But it's I won't read all the whereases, but just know that it is a representation of what's wonderful about Laverne and how much I appreciate the opportunity to represent it. So congratulations to being just an outstanding city and with outstanding leaders.
Now we move on to Domestic Violence Awareness Month. October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. All residents are encouraged to challenge the social norms and enable domestic violence, offer meaningful support to survivors, and acknowledge the dedicated efforts of those working to prevent and respond to this issue. Please, for the House of Ruth, will you, Pat Bell, come on up?
So on behalf of the City of Laverne, this proclamation says, whereas domestic violence impacts millions of people each year throughout the nation, affecting families and children across generations, and whereas during National Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month, we stand firmly with the tens of millions of people who have experienced intimate partner violence, and we thank the first responders, service providers, and community members who work to make sure that every American can live in safety with dignity and respect. And whereas every survivor should know that they are not alone, and we must work together to embrace the many cultural ways of healing from violence and oppression, hold space for survivors, and center those most marginalized in all of our efforts to end domestic violence. And whereas House of Ruth, Inc. provides domestic violence resources as well as support services to the east end of Los Angeles County and the west end of San Bernardino County, including counseling, housing, prevention education, and legal advocacy. Now be it proclaimed by the City of Laverne that the month of October 2024 be recognized as Domestic Violence Awareness and Prevention Month. And the City Council calls upon every resident to change the social norms that permit domestic violence, provide meaningful support of survivors, and express gratitude to those working diligently on prevention and response efforts.
Thank you very much, Mayor and council members and residents of City of Laverne. I also am a resident here in this beautiful city, and it's just truly a pleasure to feel the resounding support from all of you and from all of our people that live in this community. House of Ruth has been operating for 47 years. We provide critical life-saving services to anyone that needs support suffering from abuse within the household. So please reach out to us. You can visit us on our website, and thank you again for the ongoing partnership. We truly appreciate it.
At this time, I'd like to call up Chief Sam Gonzalez as a continuation of our introducing several new and recently promoted employees at the Laverne Police Department. These employees include Sergeant Steve Figueroa, Sergeant Carlos Flores, Lead Communications Officer Jaslyn Cedeno, Lead Communications Officer Chantel Garcia, Communications Officer Tracy Montez, Communications Officer Brittany Kilmer, and Cadet Brendan P. Hi.
Good evening.
One of those.
Hi.
I got it.
Hi.
Hi. I got it right. Hi.
He's a good sport. He's a good sport. Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and city staff. Thank you again for allowing me to have this opportunity to again recognize an outstanding team that's behind us now. But before that, it's worth noting again that if you look around in the audience here, you'll see not just their own personal family, but again, the community who's also part of that family. So their dedication really comes from the community and from their family. But most importantly, they couldn't do their job without the dedication and support the council up here provides them as well. So thank you for that. And again, this is round 2 of honoring the employees, the hard work that they've done, and some of them achieving their goals, either being promoted or being hired with the department. And I'll start with the cadet. And again, as I mentioned before, this is our farm system. And Cadet Pye, I like to bring him up here. Brendan Pye joined the Laverne Police Department as a police cadet in July of this year. He's currently a junior at the University of Laverne. Right up here. Yeah. We're going to be talking about you. Come on, stand up. Center. Turn around.
Oh, you'll get used to
Don't be shy. Brennan is pursuing a degree in criminology. He's currently in his 13 weeks of training, and he's eager to continue his personal and professional development within the department. Looking ahead, Brandon, his dream is to be a police officer, and our goal is to hire him internally as a police officer so those patches won't change. Hopefully that'll be done within the next year and a half. And he's got aspirations of continuing to serve the community of Laverne and contribute to the department as well. So please join me in welcoming Brandon Pye to the Laverne Police Department. Hold on. You got 30 seconds just to say hello and just talk a little bit about yourself. Not sure if you brought some family members with you here today. No? They're all working? That's okay.
I want to say thank you for all coming out tonight. My name is Cadet Pye. So I go to University of Laverne, like Chief said, studying criminology. I am also a big golfer. If there's any golfers in the crowd, you know where to come find me at the station.
Thank you. Next, I'll be introducing Communication Officer Brittany Kilmer. She joined the Laverne Police Department in June of this year as a communications officer. She came to the department with a background in human resources from the private sector, as well as experience in working in community services department for the city of Alhambra. Brittany is currently 16 weeks into her training and is excited to continue to learn and grow within the department. And as I mentioned before, the communication center was we were short-staffed, and we have a tremendous staff. Now I can say once she's done with training, we will be fully staffed. Yes. So we wish her the best, and please join me in welcoming Brittany Kilmer, and we'll give her, if you listen to that last name, there's some
much for all being here this evening. I brought my family and friends with me tonight, but I'm just very grateful to be here with the city of Laverne and to continue to grow with the city.
Introduce your.
Oh, I brought my cousin Samantha with me. My friends Joan and Paul.
Come on up for a picture.
And then my friend with her little ones. They're around here somewhere.
Come on up for a picture. Okay, the next person I'd like to introduce is Communications Officer Tracy Montez. Tracy Montez joined the Laverne Police Department in June of this year as a part-time communications officer. Prior to joining our department, she spent 8 years as a dispatcher with the West Covina Police Department. In addition to being a part-time dispatcher, she holds a full-time position as a senior liability claims adjuster, handling litigated premise liability claims for a variety of commercial businesses. Tracy holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Arizona State University and graduated in May of this year with a master's degree in law enforcement and public safety leadership from the University of San Diego. Please join me in welcoming Tracy Montez.
Thank you, Chief. I'm happy to be here working and serving the residents of the city of Laverne. I'm excited to bring my experience that I experienced from West Covina over to the city. My husband and children are here. My husband's a deputy sheriff with the Los Angeles County Sheriffs. My daughter Jenna and my son Connor, who also attend
Come on up for a photo.
Local schools here in Laverne.
taller than you.
Oh, wait. Me too.
Next promotion, we'll be introducing lead dispatcher Chantel Garcia. Chantel began her career with the Laverne Police Department in 2011 as a jailer. She transitioned to a role of dispatcher in 2017. She holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice with a minor in sociology from California State University of Fullerton. She's an active member of the Foothill Special Enforcement Team, serving as a tactical dispatcher and also a communications training officer responsible for training all new hires. In August of 2024, Chantel was promoted to a lead dispatcher. Chantel is dedicated to advancing her contributions to communications unit for the City of Laverne. Please join me in congratulating lead dispatcher Chantel Garcia.
Thank you, Chief. I've worked here for almost 13 years this November. It's been nothing but pure enjoyment. I'm looking forward to gain leadership skills with this new role, and I have my mom and dad with
Next, I'd like to introduce another promotion, lead dispatcher Jaslyn Cedeno. Jaslyn Cedeno joined the Laverne Police Department in 2021 as a communications officer. In 2023, she became a communications training officer. Shortly after, she was promoted to lead communications officer in February of this year. She holds a bachelor's degree in criminology and Justice Studies from California State University, San Marcos. Please join me in congratulating lead dispatcher Jaslyn Cedeno.
I don't have a speech prepared, but I just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you for all the support back there. I couldn't have done it with everyone. And I am here with my husband, Fabian.
Newly married, right? Last year? Yes, congratulations. Okay, the next promotion I'd like to introduce is Sergeant Carlos Flores. Sergeant Flores began his career in law enforcement with the Laverne Police Department in 2016. His dedication and diverse experience has been instrumental throughout his service, where he has held roles as detective, corporal, before being promoted to sergeant. Sergeant Flores has been a vital member of our homeless outreach team, or HOST, since its inception in 2018, where his compassionate approach and strategic thinking have made a significant impacts in addressing homelessness in the community. Sergeant Flores is actively involved in various activities within departments such as the Business Assistance Through Crime Reduction program, which is also known as BACR. The program is focused on fostering safer businesses, environments, and reducing crime rates. In addition to his work with the HOST and BACR, Sergeant Flores is also a member of the Special Events Team and currently serves as a Reserve Officer Coordinator. Sergeant Flores holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Finance and is currently pursuing a master's degree in Law Enforcement and Public Safety Leadership from the University of San Diego, underscoring his commitment to continuous learning and professional development. Please join me in congratulating Sergeant Carlos Flores.
I have the unique opportunity to serve in a department in a city that I actually grew up in. So I'm excited to help the community. That's kind of my forte. I also, participate in city events through my family. I have my wife, my daughter, my son over here. My daughter's first CIF game is tomorrow. Flag football. Go Bonita Bearcats.
Next, we have next promotion is Sergeant Steve Figueroa. So Sergeant Steve Figueroa, he's a bit of a tall but yet humble man. So we're going to keep this one short, as he kindly asked. Sergeant Figueroa has been employed with the Laverne Police Department for the past 20 years. He was promoted to sergeant in April of this year. He's also held numerous positions within the organization's corporal, field training officer, but right now he still holds a position as a member of our SWAT team on FSET. He's married and has a 12-year-old daughter who is a successful violist. They went to France this year, and she played there just prior to the Olympics, so he did some traveling. He holds an undergraduate degree in neuropsychology and a graduate degree in law enforcement and public safety and leadership from the University of San Diego. Please join me in congratulating Steve Figueroa, Sergeant Steve Figueroa.
Thank you, Chief. On behalf of my family who couldn't be here because my daughter is practicing, I appreciate the confidence, the trust, and support.
There you go.
Tell them where you want. Where do you want?
Okay, fill the gap. Thank you all, and welcome, 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 and continually welcome. Thanks, Chief. As many of you already know, we are currently inviting Laverne residents to participate in our community survey. The City Council is preparing for the 2025 strategic planning process and wants your voice to be heard. This plan will guide our city's future, addressing the needs for our community by blending our core values, specific goals, and your feedback to create a strategy that will shape the next few years. This is the last week to submit comments. Until October 25th, you can share your thoughts on what's more important for Laverne. The survey covers all aspects of our city and takes only 10 to 15 minutes to complete. Your input is essential in crafting a plan that reflects the priorities of our residents. And as a bonus, residents who complete the survey can enter in a raffle. As of today, we've received about 260 responses. Not enough, guys. This is crazy.
Mr. Mayor,
yes.
What would be great, we really want 500.
Okay.
So if at your
This is
discretion,
a challenge.
If at your discretion you want to extend it for 2 weeks,
I think that at my discretion, I want to extend it for 2 weeks so we can get maybe 1,000.
Okay.
Forget the 500. Let's set up the So we can extend that. Do we need a vote on that, or you just
Nope.
No need a roll call or anything like that.
November 8th will be the
Okay,
final
November
day.
8th. Okay, and we're going to keep pushing that out.
Yes.
Okay.
And we will do all drawings on November 4th. So we really want people to be in it.
Okay.
So we're not going to pull any tonight. We're going to wait.
Okay, so we're
Because
not
we're gonna
pulling
get-
any tickets tonight.
No, we're going to get 500
Okay.
people.
So, Aaron, I'm not calling you forward. Okay, so we've got a few more weeks, guys. Let's come on. Let's make this successful. With that, we're going to open up announcements. This is strictly for announcements. This isn't public comment. Announcements on upcoming events. First, I want to ask Mr. Crosby, is there any members of the public that want to make an announcement where you are, sir?
No, there are no members of the public, even though I have had this posted where I'm at since early Friday.
Okay, well, we won't ask for them anymore. With that, we're going to go ahead with Miss Robin Carter. Come on up.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let me put my glasses on. I am excited to share with you in our community about an important upcoming event. On November 9th, we will welcome the community to join us at the Disaster Ready Community Fair. There's a flyer in front of all of you, and then I have flyers too as you walk out on the table. Please take one. And this is for the whole community. We want everybody to come out with their families. This dynamic event is designed to educate our community members on how to be prepared for earthquakes, wildfires, and other potential disasters before they occur. The fair is a collaborative effort bringing together community members from Claremont, Laverne, and San Dimas. We have a solid lineup of demonstrations and speakers who will provide invaluable insights into disaster preparedness. The fair will be held at Bonita High School. Address is 3102 D Street, as if you don't know where it is, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. We place flyers on the table as the entrance and kindly ask that you help us, if you could, spread the word by posting the event details on your website or calendar. This is for the whole community. That's why we're asking, because that we've had some earthquakes here, stationed right here in Ontario, centered there, so that it's affecting all of us. And the big one is going to come, and we all need to be prepared. We deeply appreciate the support from first responders, local agencies such as Red Cross, Tri-City Mental Health, Southern California Edison, Southern California Gas, Earthquake Country Alliance, San Dimas, Claremont, and Laverne CERT programs, along with our local public Works Department, Fire Department, and Police Department. We welcome all residents along with their children in hopes to see them all at this event. Your participation is crucial in making our community safer and more resilient. Thank you for your time and support, and together we can build a disaster-ready community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. Appreciate that. Well, can we put that in city website? Can we do that? Put it on the website also. Notify. Yeah, that's great. Adrian Romero, Laverne Library, come on up. Our newly appointed librarian.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, council members, and staff. I would like to introduce a few events that will be holding at the library. From November 1st through November 30th, Friends of the Laverne Library will be holding a book sale in the lobby of the library. There will be a wide selection of books, DVDs, and magazines to purchase. Funds raised from this sale will go into the purchase of new books for the library, as well as programs for children, teens, and adults. Also, Friends of the Laverne Library are looking for new members. Their next meeting will be held on November 20th at 6:30. If interested, please contact their group at their email, friendsof.lvlibrary@yahoo.com. And beginning October 25th and running through November 22nd, we'll be holding our Smart Start story time for ages 2 to 5 on Fridays from 11 to 11:30. During these sessions, children can enjoy books, rhymes, and movement while learning school readiness skills. On Saturday, November 16th at 1 p.m., we'll be holding a program for teens where they can learn about searching and applying for college scholarships. This workshop is led by a college academic advisor who will explain to students the complete network and application process related to scholarships and help students avoid common pitfalls related to the process. To register for these programs, please visit our website at lacountylibrary.org. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate that. Right. And I was remiss. Robin Carter was our previous council member for many, many years in the city of Verne, so thank you for your service, Robin, very much. Kathy Kalusik.
Good evening, everybody. Kathy Kalusik, Vice President of our Laverne Historical Society. Before I make our announcements, I want to thank our Community Services Department for an awesome trunk or treat. We got to participate. We brought the truck. We had it all decked out with our giant witch's hat and some skeletons and things. Tons of families took pictures. It was wonderful. Hopefully, in the near future, we will have a bed on that truck, so we'll be able to deck it out even more. So, I'm always shamelessly begging for donations. And I will also announce that we're starting to ask people to renew their membership for 2025 or become a member. If you become a new member, of course, your membership will start immediately. It's everything is for the year, so 2024 is almost over. It'll be 2025, and that we're leaving our prices the same: $20 for individuals, $25 for families, $200 for lifetime membership, and $10 for students. So, and we also love donations. A yummy way to donate is to buy jams and jelly. I don't have any of those tonight, but we will deliver. So feel free to hit me up if there's any interest.
We're getting low.
So okay, let me know. We'll set you up. So we do have 2 upcoming events in November. On November 16th, between 11 and 4, we're going to have our vintage sale along with our home tour. We're going to be touring several homes on 5th and Bonita, 6th, and also a tour of the Church of the Brethren. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's $10 a person for the tours, and then we're going to have a lot of, we've got a lot of new stuff. So come do your Christmas shopping. We had in the past been doing December, and we talked about let's try it a little earlier so we get people, before they're already too busy with the holidays. So November 16th, come and knock out your Christmas shopping at our home tour. Come see the home tours and come shop. And then the other, we are going to participate in Fall in the Farm at the Fairplex. This will be Saturday, November 23rd from 9 to 3. So we will have a table there. The event is, it says, be an urban farmer for a day as Fairplex presents Fall in the Farm. Brings together hands-on activities, displays, workshops, and vendors on all things agricultural and wellness to create a day of fun and learning for the entire family. So I'm going to leave some flyers up over on the table. I also have a flyer with a collage of a lot of events and things we've done. So I'll leave some of those out on the table. You guys can grab them on the way out and come see me for membership. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Kathy. Appreciate that. Any other announcements on upcoming events in our community? Mr. Bowen.
Good evening again, Council. Just a reminder that LV3C is sponsoring the one and only, apparently, Unified Candidate Forum this Thursday. We had limited, when we made the announcement, we had indicated we had a limited space, and I think as of this evening, we're pretty much sold out, so to speak. We will have a speaker system in the area outside of the room, so if anybody's interested to bundle up and you want to listen, but I think seating might be gone. So just Rock of the Foothills, the Bush Hall room, 6 p.m. on Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bowen. Appreciate that. Any other announcements? Mr. Swain.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. I'm Raymond Swain. I'm the chair of our new Water and Sewer Rate Study Committee. Great title.
Congratulations.
As you know, the City Council selected 5 members of residents from the city here that applied to volunteer at your council meeting on September 4. Our committee held its first initial meeting on October 8 here in the City Hall chambers. After being duly sworn in, we received instructions on our bylaws and the Brown Act protocols. We were presented an extensive overview of the structure of the water and sewer divisions. You also know a company by the name of Raftelis, which is a consulting company that specializes in water and sewer rate studies. And they have been contracted by the city to help our committee and the city itself as we go through this process. They also made a very extensive presentation on what information our committee will need and how decisions will be processed going forward. Now, the fun stuff. Last Friday, staff arranged a tour of 4 of the city water facilities. Participants included the staff supporting our committee members, a City Department of Water staff, and some members of the public. Visiting these facilities expanded our understanding of how water is sourced, treated, and delivered. And if you've never done it, it's a pretty awesome experience to be able to get into those wells and just kind of see this infrastructure of how all this works.
They give you a snorkel? And fins?
They wouldn't even let us put our toes in the water. Thank goodness.
Yeah, don't touch the water.
Okay, so our next scheduled meeting is November 19th at 6 p.m. here. And we have additional facility tours on 11/6 and 11/7. Information on those are on the website. The city website is all the information for our committee. We are strongly reaching out to as you've seen with the other committees, trying to get participation from the residents and the businesses that will be affected by whatever outcome our committee works through. So website information, something that one of our members asked for and the city's going to be able to do is that the next round of bills that the city sends out will have a flyer on our committee and how residents can participate in this rate study. So I want to thank all the people that have helped our committee just get established and our initial exposure to all the information that is out there. And I mean, there's reams of information that goes into this. But just a couple, Rosemary Koo, Meg McWade, Christy Sanchez, Andrea Blockinger, Ryan and Eddie in the water departments. A lot of effort has gone into getting us up to where we can be as useful as possible as a committee to help come up with some recommendations for the council later on in the year. And again, one more appeal to the public. All of our meetings are open. All of our tours are open to the public. All the information is on the website. We would appreciate as many people as possible to come and council members, if you've ever not gone on one of these tours, I tell you, they're pretty interesting. So anyways, that's the update for the Water and Sewer Rate Study Committee.
Thank you, Raymond. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor, I just want to add that, so our next tour is on November 6th. That's of Three Valleys, and we'll need a head count ahead of time to give to them. So if anyone from the public is interested in joining the committee on the tour of Three Valleys, if they can email Christy Sanchez, which is ksanchez@cityoflaverne.org, up to the day before, just so that we can give them a head count of who's coming. But we'd love anyone who can make it to come with us.
And that's on the website.
It's
website.
it's on the website. We have it posted on social media as well.
Great.
But thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other announcements? I've got a couple. We've got a bunch of stuff happening. Thursday, October 31st, which is next week, Old Town Trick-or-Treating, 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock p.m. This Saturday, from 10 to 3 p.m., is, I think, the 23rd annual Heritage Park Classic Car Show. And also at the same time, you can still buy pumpkins. They can take tractor rides. There'll be food and beverage there. The pumpkin patch Monday through Thursday right now is basically for schools, which they're doing an amazing job with all the schools and the kids there. A lot of fun, a lot of classes. But from 4 to 8 p.m. on Fridays, you can purchase pumpkins and visit the farm. And then on Saturday and Sunday, from 10 o'clock to 8 p.m., you can purchase pumpkins and do the rides and purchase stuff from the Heritage Foundation and their nice barn there and their jams and jellies. And not say they're better than the, there you go. Okay, yeah. But we have great opportunities for our residents between our Historical Society and our Heritage Foundation. They're all great. But, of course, they don't have the beans. They don't have the beans, though. So, you're a step above on that one. There you go. Anyway, any other announcements?
Just a couple. This Wednesday, there's a Tri-City Mental Health Authority meeting for anyone that's interested. It'll be at 5 o'clock. You can also call in via Zoom if you are not able to attend in person. We also have a blood drive happening at ULV on Wednesday as well. So that's open, I believe, from 8 to 7. So if you are interested and able to give blood, I highly encourage you to do so. And then last but not least, if you're looking for things to clean out of your closet, the Bonita High School girls soccer team is collecting clothes and donations of home goods to help benefit their team. They're collecting on Thursday, the 24th at 5:30 p.m., and they're collecting in the Bonita High School teachers' parking lot. So if you just have bags of clothes or things that you want to donate, you can drive by, drop off your bag, do a good thing.
Throw it.
Just toss it, But, yeah.
Okay. Good. Cash. No. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, announcement? Okay, very good. We will close announcements and we move to consent calendar. Oh, Mr. Crosby. My God, I keep forgetting he's in Hawaii. I feel so bad because he's in Hawaii. Well, we don't have anybody that wanted to make announcements there, but do you have any announcements, Mr. Crosby?
No, all good.
No upcoming events or any golf tournaments or anything?
I'm here presently watching my daughter play in 2 college tournaments this week. So
that's an announcement.
Sonoma State.
Oh, that's wonderful. We wish her luck. Thank you. Keep reminding me. We will move to consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are routine and will be enacted by one motion unless a member of the City Council or a member of the audience requests separate discussion. Council, any request to pull an item from the consent calendar? Mr. Domer, were any requests made to pull an item on the consent calendar?
There were no requests, Mr. Mayor.
With that, I take a motion. We're going to do roll call.
I'll move to adopt the consent calendar.
Second.
Roll call, Mr. Domer.
Thanks. This will be a roll call vote. So, Councilmember Lau? Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Yes.
Councilmember Crosby?
Yes.
Councilmember Cashfiguita?
Yes.
Mayor Hepburn?
Yes.
The item is approved 5-0.
Thank you all.
Moved by Lau, seconded by Johnson.
You have to report it out.
Approved 5-0.
That's a roll call. We will now move to public hearings. We will, there's one item tonight, Emergency Ordinance of Housing Element Housing Program number 25, provide adequate sites for lower-income households on non-vacant and vacant sites previously identified. At this time, I would like to open the public hearing. City Manager Domer, please call forward the staff member who will be reporting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be going ahead and giving this staff report. So on October 8th, I received a letter from YIMBY Law. YIMBY is Yes in My Backyard. about the status of our housing element program, and specifically item number 25, which allows by right development on designated properties for projects that provide at least 20% affordable housing. While our housing element is approved and certified by the state, which is a great thing, any threat to it is taken very seriously. So working with our city attorney's office, Lisa Kravitz, our community development department, we started looking at what to do and if we were actually compliant. We do believe that we are. So we believe that we're compliant with state law. First, the Old Town Laverne specific plan already identifies those sites by right. These are sites that are left over from the 5th cycle housing element. Currently, we are in the 6th cycle. And as you know, there's a lot of changes to state law all the time. This was one of them that said by a certain date, and then they extended that date. That date coming up was October of this year. So we want to make sure, even though that all those sites in the Old Town Laverne specific plan, if you come in with 20% or more affordable housing, they are by right. So, and even one of our letters with the state HCD said we're compliant. So this is just in order to make sure that we're going to be putting it into our Laverne Municipal Code, because that was one of the requirements within the state law, is to put it into your municipal code. This emergency ordinance places it in with a 4/5 vote, so we do need 4/5 vote. And we will also follow it up with a standard process ordinance, which will go through the Planning Commission and the City Council. So with that, if there's any legal questions, the person to my right is very good at those.
Council, before we go to public comment, or do you want to go to public comment first? We'll go to public comment. We're going to open up public comments on the item. Would anybody like to speak on this item? Ms. Beauchamp.
Good evening, Council. In dealing with that 740 homeless housing project in the city of San Dimas, that too was a by right project. So are we saying that the properties that are left from the last cycle for the housing element are going to be considered for those types of housing? Or what level? I mean, there's that chart of, homeless and then extremely low and medium low, and there's a lot of lows there. So low affordable income, at what level are we really talking about here? So it's more of a question of that. And then I don't know if that's part of the state ordinance or assembly bill, but the 20% affordable units, I thought SB 9 with the 7% superseded that, but I don't know if that's, I know SB 9 didn't really particularly include by right. So my percentages of what are required for affordable housing on a project could vary on this. So it's more of asking for clarification on that. Thank you.
Why don't we see if anybody
Go ahead.
comment? Any other public comment on this item? We'll go ahead and close public comment. I'd like to answer.
Yes, thank you,
Ms.
Mr. Mayor. The housing element already identifies these sites. It identified them actually in the 5th housing element. They're non-vacant sites. They were already provided in our housing element that we would comply with the law. 20% is for the lower income household, so it's not moderate. It has to be low or very low income households. And it also, SB 9 is about subdividing single-family residential parcels. That's not what this is about at all. This does not change the size of the parcels or otherwise change their development potential. It simply makes them as of right rather than discretionary.
Thank you. Council, comments, questions? We're basically tightening this up is what we're doing for lawsuits, just in case someone would want to sue us for an element that we actually have been approved by the state, but it's just a technical aspect.
It's really a hyper-technical reading, but unfortunately the city's name does appear on a list that HCD maintains, saying that we are required to rezone. So this is a super extra careful measure to make sure that we don't end up in court over something that is super hyper technical.
Okay, exactly what I wanted to hear. So, and if there have no other questions or comments, motion? Second?
Second that.
Roll call, please, Mr. Domer.
Thank you. That was a motion by Kashifagita, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. Councilmember Crosby?
Yes.
Councilmember Lau?
Yes.
Councilmember Kashifagita?
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Yes.
Mayor Hepburn?
Yes.
The item is approved 5-0.
Thank you very much. Thank you, staff. Now we move on to other matters. There are two items. The first one is the adoption of a resolution approving 2024 engineering and traffic survey and introduction of an ordinance setting proposed speed limits. City Manager Domer, please call for the staff member who will be reporting.
Thank you, sir. I'll take this one. Just kidding. I'm going to bring up City Engineer Cody
Yeah,
Howling.
you go right ahead.
Drive slowly.
Well, that is the goal. Good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Yes, tonight you have before you a recommendation to adopt a resolution titled "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Laverne, State of California, adopting an engineering and traffic survey justifying speed limits on the city streets," and to also introduce by title and waive further reading of an ordinance titled "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Laverne, State of California, rescinding ordinance number 1066 and setting local speed limits, establishing local speed limits in accordance with the Laverne Municipal Code." So a few items I'd like to bring out to council's attention, give you a little background on what exactly we're doing here. This is what we call, as the title says, an engineering traffic survey. The basis for this is really truly to set speed limits within the city. California Vehicle Code establishes what we call basic speed law, and I'll read it straight from the code for you here. It states that no person shall drive a vehicle upon a highway at speeds greater than is reasonable or prudent, having due regard for weather, visibility, the traffic on and the surface and width of the highway, and in no event shall at a speed which endangers the safety of persons or property. So in that, obviously, there was no number stated. We all drive. We see the speed limits, and so the next step is establishing those actual values that is on the signage. There are two categories that fall into what we call prima facie speed limits. There's the automatic that we all know well, the residential, school zones, business districts, and so on. Typically 25 miles per hour, can be posted lower in certain circumstances. And then there's everything else, so the highway speeds, the local collectors. Those are established through this study. And so, again, how do we get to the numbers? So a field survey is conducted using radar gathering equipment on free-flowing traffic to gather quantitative data to establish what we call the 85th percentile. And so what that means is 85% of traffic is traveling at this speed or less, and obviously the remaining 15% are above that. And that 85th percentile mark is set as sort of the basis of what a speed limit shall be. Now, granted, as the traffic engineer has some ability to adjust, there is, of course, the rounding, because we don't see 37 miles an hour and so on. So round to the nearest 5 miles an hour is in that. And then one of the other things, so in 2023, there was some new law that was passed within the state that allowed traffic engineers to review speed limits as they were established to the 85th percentile mark, but then also take into account other features as in previously adopted speed studies. And so what we were dealing with as sort of a self-fulfilling prophecy is each time we go out and do a survey, an 85th percentile, well, we had a scenario that was speed creep is kind of the terminology. So over time, speeds would creep up. And so with this new provision in the code, we're allowed to go back and manage that appropriately, of course. And so the purpose of speed limits is to ensure that traffic moves at a safe and orderly pace. We don't want to cramp speed to a way to where we cause congestion. We want to make sure safety is, of course, a priority for this process. So In the study, there were 53 segments of roadway that were studied within the city. Of those 53, only one has come out as a recommendation for an increase. That one segment is Wheeler Avenue from Arrow to Puddingstone, and we are jumping from a 30-mile-an-hour posted speed limit to a 35-mile-an-hour posted speed limit. So one thing we were looking at is what changed here. Why are we going up 5 miles an hour? The previous speed study was conducted in 2016. At that time, Wheeler terminated at Verne Way, which is a private street that serves the university ball fields down there. And so since that time, development has taken place in the area, and Wheeler now connects all the way through to Puddingstone. Thus, the obvious scenario of improved circulation, increased traffic, and speeds increasing from that last study. One thing that I want to point out, though, is also Wright Avenue, which goes to the San Paulo Business District, was also originally posted as 35 and remains. But having that increase, it just makes sense for consistency through the area. And so one thing that I also want to point out to the City Council is, this is a traffic study. This is a citywide traffic study, and the focus is speed limits. There are other traffic studies out there, and I don't mean to confuse what we'll be doing in the future, but there are traffic studies out there that may include signalization, stop signs, traffic calming. I want to point example to the Amherst project. As we may recall, that is a traffic study that is on the horizon, looking at Amherst, Bowdoin, and those areas. And so that is not this. That is to come. But just so, since we're talking about traffic studies, I wanted to point that out to the council. And I believe that concludes my report, and so I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Howling. I'm going to open up public comment first. We're going to open public comment on this item. Anybody wish to speak on this item? That would be no. We're going to close public comment and move it up the dais. Mr. Johnson.
Cody, I have a question regarding B Street. I know we have some proposed road work on B Street.
Yes.
And currently, at the north end of it, the tree roots have a tendency to slow traffic down quite a bit.
Yes.
At least it's a very rough ride. Traffic calming. Yeah.
Or throwing you in the gully.
My concern, though, is we have a 40-mile-an-hour posting speed that we're going to put on B Street. Currently, it's a 25-mile-an-hour zone as soon as you get south of Peyton. So what's happening to that section of the road?
So, Mr. Johnson, what you're referring to is the 25-mile-an-hour speed zone that has been posted as a result of the senior citizen community there for Hillcrest. There is no intention to change that 25-mile-an-hour. That is limited to that space, however. So the speed study does hold consistent as 40 and will be 40 based on the recommendations of the traffic engineer, but we are not modifying that 25-mile-an-hour segment.
Do we have any other traffic calming for B Street? Because it's a long strip without any stop signs.
It is a long strip. I will take this opportunity. So stop signs are not intended to be traffic calming devices. Acknowledging, obviously, if you have to decelerate, stop, and then accelerate, that might have the effect. The purpose of a stop sign is to assign right of way. And so in our toolbox of traffic calming, we don't use stop signs, but there are other items that we use. And specific to your question, the B Street project, we have a handful, I believe it was 6, if I recall from my memory correctly, 6 bulb outs that are being installed on the east side of the street. And that will help not only pinch the road, it will give us an opportunity to improve ADA accessibility for folks using that area. Granted, that is centered on the south side, but we also have in that project relocation of speed feedback signs that are on Fruit Street down to B Street to help that. Those speed feedback signs were originally there for the Lutheran High School, obviously no longer needed at this point. And, you know, I appreciate your point. I want to just point council's attention to one thing that I found very interesting in Appendix A, and if you don't have it handy, I'll point it out to you, don't worry. So segment 26, Fruit Street. So As we all recall, Fruit Street didn't look the way that it does today. We've got medians, buffered Class 2 bike lanes, among other things there. And so from the 2016 traffic survey, the original recommended speed was 40. And you'll notice that now the speed limit, the 85th percentile has dropped down to 33. So we're not proposing to change that, to reduce that, again, because the orderly flow of traffic is an important feature, having freeway connections to that. But I want to highlight that because traffic calming measures do work, and I think that's a great quantitative piece of data. I was honestly surprised at how much it dropped and appreciative of that. So, again, we will continue to use those toolboxes and strategies to maintain safety for the city throughout our projects and so on.
Any other questions, comments? Very good. Mr. Crosby.
I just want to thank Cody for answering all my questions before. He gave us this about a month ago, and really appreciate it because it's so intense, and really appreciate Cody looking and giving that us too early.
Very good. Again, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
With that, is there a motion to adopt resolution titled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Laverne, State of California, adopting an engineering and traffic survey justifying the speed limit on city streets," and introduced by title only and waive further reading of an ordinance title and ordinance of the City Council of the City of Laverne, State of California, rescinding ordinance number 1066 and setting local speed limits, establishing local speed limits in accordance with the Laverne Municipal Code?
Thank you.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Thank you. On that, moved by Johnson, seconded by Lau. Councilmember Crosby?
Yes.
Councilmember Cashvigita?
Yes.
Councilmember Lau?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Yes.
Mayor Hepburn?
Yes.
Passed unanimously, 5-0.
Thank you very much. Second item, the approval of memorandum of understanding for workers' compensation alternative dispute resolution with the Police Officers Association. Mr. Domer, please call forward the staff member who will be reporting.
Yes, I will be presenting on this. Trying to see.
Well, what are you being coy? I will be presenting.
And we do have it in the front row. And actually, we do have representatives of the Ferone and Ferone Law Group. Actually, I'll give a quick, brief staff report, and then I'll ask them to come up because this is dealing with workers' comp. As we all know, specifically with public safety organizations, workers' comp can be a nightmare situation. And so there is an opportunity through the state of California to have what's, I guess, politically called a carve-out, but it's the alternative dispute resolution. And it is a better way to approach workers' comp issues with public safety or really any worker. And so personally, I've been at several other cities that have gone through this. I was very happy when our Police Officers Association and the Ferone and Ferone Law Group brought this forward. It's the only time that in all my career I have ever seen a police union or a firefighter union and the city go hand in hand and agree and say this is good stuff. And so it is really good because it reduces time away. It increases the ability of an officer in this case to get into rehab or to get a procedure done. And so it's a very good thing. With that, Ferone will probably give more of a detailed emphasis on it, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and the council. Thank you, Mr. Domer, for having us. I think you explained it quite well and succinctly. Frankly, I think to your point of it's really the one time when you have collaboration between a police union and management and really a unanimous city council, because the system itself is so expensive. The cost drivers are the system itself. Once you realize you need a way around it, the ADR or the alternative system provides the tools now for cities, the POA and the management to actually figure out how to solve it, get these members back to work sooner. And that's really just the issue here. They just want to get back to their job, and the system is slowing them down. So we launched this project in 2008 with the city of Long Beach, and now 30 jurisdictions throughout California have it. I think it's become the gold standard for public safety, if not all of the labor units within a city itself. There's no other way to navigate through the system. If it were me telling you to go through it, you would not want to go through a car wash full of knives. That will not do good work for your car. So it's really a system, unfortunately, that doesn't work. And that's this alternative is going to really help expedite the resolution of these cases.
And Mr. Mayor, members of council, one example is, say if one of our officers, and we know this happens all the time, is involved with a suspect, pursuing a suspect, twists his or her ankle. The time to get into under the normal workers' comp system, to get into a procedure to review it, get an MRI, could be weeks, if not months, and then things could push it back and delay it more weeks. This agrees upon that, hey, referral to a physical therapist is granted, an MRI is okay, one injection if need be for this or that. So it really kind of goes down the list. We do have a labor management committee that then reviews it, meets quarterly, if not more, that looks at everything, looks at the agreed upon doctors, the other clinician lists and all that stuff. And so it's been a great process to sit down with the POA to look at this and see how can we make sure that our officers' safety, their health is a priority. So I do greatly appreciate it.
It really provides us the better roadmap, how to get care, and then how to resolve a dispute. And that's really the issues here. It's just solving one issue of, I just want to get care, how do I access the care point? And then secondly, if a dispute does arise in the system, we now have a defined faster map, 30-day exam, 30-day report to expedite that issue. That's really that's why it's the golden standard.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yep. Any questions?
We'll go to public comment, and then we'll bring it back up. We're going to open public comment on this item. Anybody wish to speak on it? That would be no. We're going to close public comment, bring it up the dais. Council, comments? Councilor Lau.
My only comment is just thank you for working on this, and thank you for the collaboration and the cooperation to make this happen. I think this is beneficial for all involved. And so I couldn't imagine wanting to wait weeks for an MRI or to get care. So thank you for working on this.
Councilmember Crosby.
No. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
I too want to thank Ken for bringing this up and for your group that put this together in the first place. I mean, getting our officers back on the streets, doing their job in a timely manner is a great goal, and I appreciate your help. Thank you.
Councilmember Cash.
Oh, I thank law firm Adams Ferone. I've known this firm for a very long time. In 25 years, I've been in law enforcement. God knows I've been hurt many a times. But and I appreciate the fact that everybody can get together and collaboratively and work towards the better healing for our first responders. That is paramount to me in public safety. Give officers an opportunity to heal, because it is a job that we did sign up for it, but we didn't sign up for all the extra stuff. You know what I mean? It is something that just is very well needed, and I look forward to continue working with all our union groups and anybody else to heal and get back to work.
Thank you, Councilmember Cash. It's just nice to see that our groups get together and we have a resolution to something to get our people back healthy first, but also maybe light duty, things like that, but also to get the care they need, as we've all stated. I think this is great. I think it's about time, because we have a very reduced staff right now, and there are injuries there, and I think this is going to expedite to help them get better faster, get them the resources they need, and absolutely fantastic way. And I thank you, Ken, for bringing this up and bringing on this company to get this done. So
they brought it to us, which is great. I fully support it. I've seen it put into place in 2 other cities, and then in Laguna Beach they were bringing it in. So why it's a carve out, not the norm, no idea.
I don't care, as long as it works.
Yes,
that's what's good about it. With that, is there a motion to approve a memorandum of understanding between the City of Laverne and the Laverne Police Officers Association, and authorize the city manager to execute the memorandum of understanding with the Laverne Police Officers Association?
Yes, so moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Thank you. Moved by Kashyapagita, seconded by Lau. Councilmember Crosby?
Yes.
Councilmember Kashyapagita?
Yes.
Councilmember Lau?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Johnson?
Yes.
Mayor Hepburn?
Yes.
Approved 5-0.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you very much. We will now move on to public comments and oral communications. This is the time set aside for anyone wishing to address the City Council on items not listed on the agenda but within the subject matter jurisdiction of the City Council. I want to remind everyone that the Brown Act prohibits the City Council from engaging in discussion on any item not appearing on the posted agenda. However, your concerns may be referred to staff and placed for discussion at a later date. There is don't worry about the time limit. At this time, those wishing to make comments, please come up to the podium. Gary, come on up. Got a itch in your giddy up there, sir? Got it? Thank you.
You know, I just turned 80 last December, and at the golden years, there's nothing golden but you.
Gary.
That's the only thing golden about it.
It's always good to see you, though, Gary.
Yeah. A couple things. The traffic guy over here, corner Chelsea and Essex, there's a stop sign on Essex. People don't stop there no more. They just go right on around the corner. I don't know if one of those flashing lights would stop it. I've seen those solar-powered stop sign. That's just a thought.
And that's Chelsea and Essex?
Uh-huh.
Our police chief's here nodding his head, thinking, okay.
Okay. Okay, and a month and a half ago, the city tree, fell over onto my house and another bush. I called and they said, well, put you on the list to deal with the tree. So time goes by, so I called again, and you're on the list. Well, I finally figured out what list I'm on. So I hired somebody to take it out, take the bush off the house. It's $120, no big deal. But then I come home from the doctor's office, and this guy's out there trimming the trimming the tree.
That darn tree?
Yeah, that darn tree. I said, what are you doing? I just paid somebody to do what you're doing. Well, the city hired me to come over and do this. So it's not his fault. But I don't know why I got on that other list.
Did they do a better job than her first guy?
Well, he took more of the tree off.
They cut something else.
Yeah. So,
okay, we'll look into that, Gary.
So anyway, that's it.
If our city promises something, we should follow through with it. I do apologize.
Yeah.
For that. We'll look into that.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll go back over and sit down and shut up.
Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Any other public comments? Ms. Beauchamp.
I want to thank Yvonne and whoever else in the community services department that helped facilitate getting the community center for the Laverne girls softball meeting. That was a much needed meeting that took place. And then, was on Facebook Live. So a lot of parents were brought to speed of what's been happening there. Also, I do want to thank the police department. I've been seeing some patrols around Amherst area because we have, now that the time has changed a little bit, it's getting dark and the people are just running that stop sign on Amherst and Bowdoin before you get to Fruit. So if they would continue that would be much appreciated. Also, I think I would like to thank the city for recognizing domestic violence. I know that's not a topic that's a happy topic, but it's something that's so prevalent in our society. And especially Councilmember Lau, she's always been an advocate for House of Ruth, a company that I used to work for. We used to do fundraising for them, and it is a much needed thing. And I think the proclamation for their organization speaks highly of our residents that, it's not a happy thing, but we acknowledge it and we're sorry that it happens, but we try our best to try to help those people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Beauchamp. Oop, she's throwing them around. Anybody else for public comment? We're going to go ahead and close public comment, bring it up to dais. Councilmember Lau. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Oh. Inga Moranto. Yes, you're up. Inga.
Good evening. I want to be sure to say thank you to the Public Works Department for the contractor that they hired to repair our streets and resurface them. They did a beautiful job. I'm really impressed by the safety and the professionalism. And I guess I have one question. Are they going to do the same thing for the alleys? Because some of the alleys have some pretty good cracks going. And I'm just wondering if that is part of the overall plan.
Thank you very much, Inga. Anybody for public comment? We'll go ahead and close public comment. Meg, did you want to talk on that real quick? If you don't mind.
And thank you very much for your comment. We are excited about road work whenever we get paving done, right? In terms of alleyways, they are not streets. They are separate, so you cannot use normal street funding sources for alleys. We have done a pavement management plan. We've done an inspection of all the alleys, so we have identified the needs. The next step is to identify the funding. So most likely that will come from some sort of general fund or another funding source that we have here in the city. The need is far greater than the funding that we have available.
Thank you. Public Works Director McGoey. Thank you. Councilmember Lau, come on.
First of all, I just wanted to acknowledge that University of Laverne had their homecoming weekend last weekend. It was filled with lots of activities from Friday through Sunday, events held on campus, events held at the Church of the Brethren, our football game, which unfortunately we lost, but we have really good students and they're great. So I love them. But I did want to throw out a thank you to both the fire department and the police department. The fire department graciously hosted our mascots and our president in their fire truck for our parade. And police department obviously came and were a vital presence there. I appreciate that you also sent a ULV grad to the site. So thank you so much for being there. I think they had a good time, I hope. I know that the police officers at least got to eat. I hope the fire department did too. But a really great event. And I also want to thank the city. I was like, if you didn't eat, let me know. I was like, take you out. But I also wanted to thank the city for your continued working and collaboration with ULV, because I think that town and gown aspect of our city is really important, and making sure that we are optimizing all the partnerships available to us and making sure that our community is aware of who our public safety is, and that we're also aware of who our constituents are in that area. So thank you for that. It was very fun. So for anyone who's not aware, homecoming is open to the city. There was a great vendor fair booth, thing. So there was people from the community. There were students here that were selling things. I'm always a big advocate of our integrated business students. So they have to get in a cohort, make a pitch to a local bank, get a bank loan, figure out what product they're going to sell the product, and then administer the proceeds to a charity of their choice. So it's a really cool program. So they were there. There was a petting zoo for anybody who would have wanted to see a mini cow or a mini horse.
Mini cow.
Yeah, so it was really cute.
Mini
it was
cow.
It was a small cow. It was a little cow. No, it was a mini cow. Chickens, all sorts of fun things. So next year, do come by. There's a lot of fun stuff for people to participate in and have fun at. No. Also, I wanted to say thank you to JR, but JR is not here, so hopefully he'll just watch this at some point. But JR is one of the folks who was selected to serve on the sort of screening interview committee for Tri-City Mental Health for their executive director. So he was out there doing some good work and really engaging with the folks that are applying for this very important job. And then I also just wanted to thank the residents who have gone above and beyond with your decorations for Halloween. I mean, they are impressive. Some of them scared the holy you know what out of me, and I don't want to walk down that street in the dark. But there is some good stuff out there. I don't know where y'all keep this stuff, but it is impressive. So I'm really looking forward to all the fun. And so thank you to the residents for making it a fun place to be and for a fun place for the kids to get to trick or treat and do good things. So with that, that's all for me. But have a good week, and as always, be kind.
Happy. Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson.
Okay, a couple of weekends ago, Lori and I were at Trunk or Treat and up at the Harvest Festival.
You're talking about the fair?
The craft fair.
The Heritage Fair.
Heritage Fair.
Yeah.
That was nice to see all the pumpkins and the Halloween stuff coming up. Let's see. ULV voting is coming up. Is it this Friday or? Okay.
I had it with me, but I think it's the 26th of November. 26th of October till the 5th of November. Right.
Yep. So that's coming up. Yeah. Put that on your calendar and be sure to vote. Trick or treaters. My gosh, every year, at least in our neighborhood, we have over 1,000 kids.
Or that.
And we want little kids.
Compared to Holden, he is a little kid.
We all are, aren't we?
Yes, that's true.
But please have a safe Halloween. Watch out for the kids in the streets. Just be aware. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Johnson. Councilmember Cash.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I just want to take this time just to acknowledge everybody in our city that's been working so hard to keep our city safe. I know, and working and just functioning right. I want to take that time for all of you. It's really important to me. When I get out in the morning, I get out and I see people walking, having a good time. Just taking that moment with your families and spending that time with your families. This world and life is short. But I do want to thank City Manager Ken Domer, Public Works, for those flashing lights. I got my flashing lights. Thank you there, Codemeister. I know that has something to do with that, too. Over there with and so North Laverne's had another problems with the speeding
tonight, doesn't he?
And that curve on Esperanza. So thank you for those flashing. Listen, it's something. Just something to kind of give awareness, and a lot of people have taken that turn a little high. And also on Emerald. So we've had several stop sign people always complaining that, people don't see it or people don't stop. I get it. Best we could do. I wish I had more money. I'd hire more cops on the street. God knows that. But I want to take that time. Thank you for that. Please be cautious again in this year for Halloween, for all the amazing folks that are going to go out and trick-or-treating. Be safe. That's all we can ask. Just be safe. Take care of your little ones, or little ones at heart, like myself. I'll be at Steve Johnson's house, knocking on his door periodically,
groveling for
continuously. Different costumes at every time. He won't know it's me.
I think we'll have corn chowder.
No cookies.
This is a great time. But, that's what I love about our city. It's what I love about my colleagues and everybody else. At least we have a good working relationship, just kind of keep each other safe. That's all. So, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Cash. Councilmember Crosby, or should I say the Hawaiian guy?
Thank you. This Friday is the City of Laverne's Inclusion Dance, the Halloween Hop. YFAC meeting was moved to next Tuesday, so come out to that. Last week, I had the pleasure to go with city staff to the JPI conference, where I attended the conference to get insights on the City of Laverne and how they implement its risk management policies, workman's comp, and other liabilities. And the city's doing an amazing job. Today, we had on our agenda, on our consent item, and Mayor Pro Tem Johnson spoke about a little bit as well, number 5, the authorized removal of 88 trees on B Street. I just want to make sure that the residents know that it's coming, so that I know we'll still get some calls. Why are they taking down the trees? But the trees are what's ruining that street. And Director McWade is doing a great job in making sure that street is going to be safe. But that there'll be 88 trees being taken down on that street because of the roots growing into it too. Lastly, I just want to thank all the residents and the city staff to let me have the opportunity to come to still participate in the meeting today, and they'll be at my daughter's watch her event. Family's always first, but I still want to have my civic duty that we've all signed up to. So I really appreciate allowing me to do that. Thank you. Have a happy Halloween.
We wish Riley much success in the tournament, and enjoy yourself there. And we appreciate you being on with us.
Sunset's about to happen in 20 minutes, so it's going to be real nice.
There you go. Oh, that's right. You're 3 hours. I forgot. Mr. Domer, League of California Cities. You participated. How many cities were there? Or how many cities participate in League of California Cities? Pretty much.
470 cities.
I was going to say 400.
So that it was their largest conference ever. It was over, I think, 2,200 people.
It was in Long Beach, the convention center. But it's amazing. I mean, I did pop in and pop out. We had a city selection committee. I know Chief Nig was there, and he was speaking.
Chief Nig actually got appointed as
now the
president. I've been waiting. He's the president.
What's the president
of the League of Cities Fire Chiefs. President. Yes. Yeah, I was with him. All right, speech.
You know, quite frankly, all of our department directors and our chiefs are very involved, and Chief Nig is a perfect example of involvement with the safety of our community and the safety of all of our residents, but also the safety of the whole San Gabriel Valley. We really appreciate your input. I know it's going to be very successful, and as Mr. Holden said, we'll find the money somehow, because even though they vetoed that bill, this is a major issue here, and we appreciate your input. And also I want to say thank you for your staff again, for Jennifer, for Holly, for Aaron, and all of your staff, and also the police staff, the police officers, also for our safety for the fire of notifying our residents. You did an outstanding job, so thank you. But we do appreciate what you're doing. I think we've got a great road ahead of us to get this insurance thing figured out and figure out how we can protect our residents with fire-wise and things like that. So thank you very much. Also, like everybody said, Halloween, please slow down. Please slow down. Please slow down. Bonita is thousands and thousands of children and cars, and people come from other communities just to enjoy our community. So, but be very careful. Be very careful. Also, on the back page, upcoming events. Don't forget, everything's listed here on the back of the page of the agenda packet. Just everybody be safe and have a wonderful Halloween. But remember, pay attention to this. There's lots of fun things going on between the Heritage Foundation and also the Historical Society. There's just a ton of stuff going on. The next regular Laverne City meeting is on Monday, November 4th at 5:30 p.m. This is the day before Election Day. As a reminder, upcoming events, meeting are posted on the last page of the City Council agenda. Tonight is the last night that you can register to vote. It's 11:59 p.m. online, and you have to have it postmarked at the post office. I think it's too late now. You're done. It was 5 o'clock when they closed. So this is an important election. No matter what way you need to vote, you need to register to vote. And we have the voting, the ballot drop-offs, one here in front of City Hall, one in front of Oak Mesa, and on the I think we have on the website where we're having the voting polling places. And also, okay, with that. At this time, we will recess into closed session. City Attorney Hall Barlow, do you expect any report out from the council on the items? And can you please read the closed session items on the agenda?
Be happy to. I do not expect a report out, but we will be discussing litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54958.9D1, claim of David Diaz, and negotiations. Conference with labor negotiators pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.6. The negotiating parties are the city manager, the assistant city manager, and the city attorney. The employee organization is Laverne Police Middle Management Association and all unrepresented middle management employees.
Thank you, Ms. Barlow. Before we go into closed session, anyone wishing to address the city council items listed on the closed session agenda may comment now. I will open up public comment. Looks like none, so I'm going to close public comment. Mr. Crosby, anybody out there for public comment on the closed session item? Not at all.
Marcy said no.
No. Thank you, Marcy. Thank you for attendance tonight. We are adjourning this meeting at 8:27 p.m. Thank you all. Recessing. Oh, whatever.